Perhaps I had a wicked childhood. Perhaps I had a miserable youth. But somewhere in my wicked, miserable past, there must have been a moment of truth.
5:44 here at KXNT, and a good afternoon. Great to have you with us on this Wednesday afternoon. Great voice of Seth MacFarlane, really incredible voice. And as I talk to him, I want to give you the chance to win tickets to see him at the Encore Theater inside of Wynn, either Friday or Saturday night. We're going to give tickets away right now to Seth MacFarlane, the Encore Theater, and then we're going to talk to him. Caller 15 at 733-KXNT, 733-5968. Caller 15 at 733-5968, KXNT, 733-KXNT. Caller 15 is going to wind up being able to see Seth MacFarlane and a great, great concert. Joining us right now on the Bishop Air Service Live line is Seth MacFarlane. Seth, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. I've got to tell you, you've got a great, smooth voice. I mean, I'm not just saying this. You really do. You hit those songs, the Great American Songbook, the phrasing and the smoothness, just so perfect. Whatever motivated you to get involved in singing? Because you've been successful in Family Guy and American Dad and all that jazz. But what got you involved in this?
Well, Family Guy and American Dad actually utilize a pretty large orchestra on a weekly basis. I mean, Family Guy will use anywhere from 50 to sometimes 80 pieces, depending on the needs of the episode and if there's a musical number. And it was something that I did a lot of music. I sang a lot when I was a kid. My sister and I did a lot of Gilbert and Sullivan and musical theater and things of that nature. And so I had some singing training, but when I moved out to L.A. and started Family Guy, I just picked it up again because I thought, my God, we have this great big orchestra to work with. I better step it up. And I kind of rediscovered all of those songs that I had been exposed to by my parents, and it was just kind of, it had stayed in my blood.
So, I mean, your favorite kind of music, are you saying is like the Great American Songbook? Because a lot of people, say it's rock and roll and rap and stuff like that. Are you saying Great American Songbook is your forte?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's more affecting to me than any other. I mean, look, everybody's got a certain type of music that just gets them, and this is it for me. I mean, it's and particularly when it's well orchestrated. And one of the things that we're really showing off in this show are some of the great old orchestrations that you never get to hear live and that just sparkle and just jump right off the stage when they're played with a great orchestra. And we got about 55 pieces.
Wow. I mean, we've been playing your, bumps throughout the week as we're giving tickets away, and people are going crazy on this. Phones are going nuts right now. Phone company just called. We just blew out the phone line, by the way. So,
my apologies to MCI.
No, don't apologize. It's okay. They deserve it. Seth MacFarlane is joining me right now. He's going to be the Encore Theater inside Wynn this Friday and Saturday night. And by the way, you can get tickets. You can try to win more tomorrow or Friday, but you can also get them by calling the Wynn ticket box office at 770-WYNN, WYNN. That's pretty easy to remember. Or go to winlasvegas.com. But you don't want to miss out on this great opportunity. I did see you, by the way, in the December tribute that they did to Sinatra. And
the CBS show, yeah.
The show was okay. I'm not going to be honest. I'm not going to play games and say it was a great show. It wasn't a great show. It was okay. You were fantastic. And if they had you and Bob Anderson, I think, up there, and you guys did the whole show, it would have been marvelous.
Well, I had a blast. I mean, again, it's and this show that we're doing at the Wynn is actually in the same room, and it's acoustically one of the best rooms I think I've ever sung in. Yeah, I mean, again, the arrangements that I was singing to were the original arrangements, and those songs, and it really is a part of to me it's an essential part of a great recording is to really have a great orchestra with a great arrangement. It's the vocal is only a fraction of it. You become sort of one instrument in the larger body of the recording, and we have some really phenomenal arrangements lined up for this show, and it's a hard thing to promote because all you can ever say is, look, trust me, you haven't heard anything like this live ever. And I speak with experience because the first time I heard an orchestra play a lot of these old arrangements, I went to London a few years ago, and I was like, oh my God! I was walked into the studio and had to kind of step back, and I realized I've only heard this sound on mono recordings, and to hear it live, it's so brand new in its own way. So it's something that I can't stress enough. It's a very special sound. You don't want to miss it.
I'm talking to Seth MacFarlane. A quick question. You were born in 1973, and so you love the Great American Songbook. Is there any rock and roll you appreciate, maybe from the 50s, 60s, or 70s, or any of that era at all?
I mean, there's I pick and choose here. I'm such a jazz, classical, orchestral devotee that I'm a James Taylor fan. I like Billy Joel. I like Queen. There's the musicians the rock musicians who really show an understanding of musicality in its highest form. Yeah, I'm a fan, but it still doesn't stir me like these older orchestrations do, and it's the size of the sound. It's a lot of these songs were recorded with a 30 to 50 piece orchestra, and it just fills the room in a way that a contemporary pop song just can't.
Now, people know you from the comedies that you've done and the TV shows, obviously. Family Guy, one of the most well-known of all time, I think, shows on TV ever, and a great show because it does. It goes after everyone. I call it the Don Rickles of the. Oh, I mean, you do. I mean, you don't spare anyone. I don't care, who. People say, oh, you go after them, but you do everything, and that's absolutely great. So, in the concert you're going to be doing Friday and Saturday night, do you throw in any kind of comedy or jokes or one-liners, or what do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's. I mean, it's interesting. We get. I've done shows of this type with various symphonies throughout the country. So we've done a version of this show about 20 times over the past couple of years, and it's interesting because we get about half the audience that are lovers of the music and are there to hear the songs, and the other half that are fans of Family Guy or Ted. And so it is a little bit incumbent upon me to balance the show with an awareness of both those sides of the crowd. So it is a mix. Yeah, we keep it light. There's a lot of jokes in between, but the music is taken very seriously. So it's a unique blend. We exist in this Goldilocks zone between the two, and it's worked well, actually.
Now, when you come to Las Vegas, you're going to be spending a few days here, obviously, Friday night, Saturday night, so you're going to be here Friday, probably through Sunday or whatever. So what do you like to do in your downtime in Las Vegas? What about Vegas excites you to do it when you're not performing?
That's it's a very good question. I mean, I'll gamble.
Thank you.
Eat.
Thank you very much.
Is there besides gambling and eating? Are there other things to do? I mean, if you can't go outside because you can't breathe and it's hot and it's muggy, but indoors, I'm sure there's other things to do.
Well, there are indoors. I could say a lot. I'm not, but the weather is the weather is not too bad this weekend.
Well, that's good.
We're going to be in the 80s, or actually up to almost 90, I think, on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm lucky if I can ever find my way out of the hotel. So it's. I mean, the nice thing about Vegas is, look, I'm a hotel junkie. I love hotels. I love, room service. Like that's like the best kind of vacation for me. Is to just hang out in a hotel. But and that's the nice thing about Vegas is you really never have to leave the building.
No, when you go to a resort, you could stay literally in one resort the whole time and be entertained, as well as food and gamble and things like that. So
It's like you're living in a big mall. It's great.
it is. It really is. And by the way, the Wynn, when you walk through it, they've got that whole area which all lit up with the lights and the trees and all that stuff. It really is very, very nice. If you haven't seen it in a while, it's very, very cool. So
yeah, I was there a few weeks ago, and or a few weeks, a couple of months ago, talking about the show, and it was it's great. I love that hotel. I'm a fan.
So real quickly, I've got to know. So you like to gamble a little bit? Again, we appreciate it because that's why our taxes are low, because of people like you. So thank you on behalf of all of us. But I've got to know when you do participate in gaming, what's your favorite sport, so to speak?
I'm one of the lazy ones that plays blackjack or roulette. Everybody always looks like they're having the most fun at the craps table, and I've never learned how to play that game.
I never did either.
Never learned how to play craps, and it always looks like that's where all the action is. So maybe this time I'll take a whack at that.
I got to ask you real quickly also regarding Family Guy. I haven't seen you do anything like with Donald Trump. Have you done it and I've missed it, or what?
Well, we haven't because, keep in mind each episode of Family Guy takes about 10 months to produce.
Wow.
So, unless you're ballsy enough to make a prediction of some kind, you can't really, you can't get too immediately topical. I remember in 2000, the one time we did it and we learned our lesson, we wrote an episode during the election that we knew was going to air after the election was over, and we had a reference to President Gore, and obviously we had to change that. So it was a lesson in not being too sure of ourselves when we write a script.
You've got to be more prudent. So you're going to wait until after the election. If Trump becomes president, then you'll start doing some stuff about him, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't hang ourselves. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's a joke. I have no political affiliation whatsoever.
No, I know. I'm not getting into. I'm just doing that on a generic basis. You don't do political stuff, right? And you're when you're doing the performance.
Well,
there.
it depends on the it depends on the region. Look, like if I'm performing in San Francisco or Seattle, yeah, I'm going to do political stuff because I'm playing to an audience that I. Like those cities, you can pretty much guarantee you're gonna.
Right. It's
gonna be a pretty progressive group, and I lean towards the progressive. So, but if I play in Kentucky or somewhere like that, or even in Vegas, you get a mixed crowd, so you don't want to be that jerk up there who's
wise move. Linda Ronstadt found out a long time ago about that, so I'll tell you about that someday.
Yeah, it's just you just play to your audience.
I think that's wise to do. Everyone, go see Seth MacFarlane. Not only is he funny, but the guy is absolutely great when it comes to the Great American Songbook. We'll be there Friday night, by the way, so I'm looking forward to seeing you and cheering you on.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Take good care. Travel safely and spend lots of money while you're here. We appreciate that, too.
Will do.
Thank you very much for joining us. Seth MacFarlane joining us right here on News Talk 840 AM KXNT.